Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Coatl. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is the Modern Horizons 2 update of Spunky's Bant deck. Spunky is a coaching client of mine, and this is a deck that we worked on together in coaching sessions a few months ago, probably before Strixhaven, much less before Modern Horizons 2. I'm pretty sure Court of Grace was a new card when we originally started working on this deck, and Spunky has continued to brew with it and iterate on it since that point. And basically what this deck is Bant Flash. So you want to use cards like Ice-Fang Coatl, Hullbreacher, and Shark Typhoon to challenge their answers, challenge their mana in their end step, get them to tap low until you can find a window to sneak in one of your main phase threats like Narset, Teferi, Uro, or Jace. So there's powerful stuff that you can do at flash speed and powerful stuff at sorcery speed. So go make a move in their end step. If they respond, you get to make a move in your main phase with an even better card, and if they don't respond, you just beat them with the things in their end step and continue playing a flash game until eventually they're going to have to tap out or tap low, and then you get to make your move. Big upgrades to this deck: Endurance from Modern Horizons 2. This is another flash threat, and it's just a really freaking good card. I have talked about this card in the past on the channel. Every time I've had it in a deck so far, it's been insane. 3/4 flash, just ambushes Delver in combat. The put target player's graveyard on the bottom of their library ability. Obvious implications against Reanimator and Dredge and Oops All Spells and all those sort of decks. Also good against Doomsday, because when they put their Thassa's Oracle trigger on this deck, you just put their graveyard into their deck and then Oracle doesn't win the game anymore. So gigantic graveyard implications, sweeping away Uro. The Delver decks these days are currently playing Dragon's Rage Channeler, which cares about Delirium, and Murktide Regent, which needs cards to delve. So there's a lot going on here with Endurance. And it fits right into this plan as a flash threat as well. So I got one of those in the main for this league and two more in the board. I suspect the optimal way to build this deck might be more of them in the main. Like you might just want two and maybe replace one of the Jaces just as another flash threat that I honestly, in the Legacy format that we have before us, I think that Endurance is also just more likely to win a game than Jace is a lot of the time. So there might be a way you can just dig even deeper into the flash game. But for now, I'm going to play this version. The other new card I've got here, which I have not gotten to play with yet, is Prismatic Ending. It's a white and X sorcery. Exile target non-land permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast the spell. So on the surface, you pay 1 white, X is 0, exile a 1-drop. And then if you pay 2 colors, you could get a 2-drop. If you pay 3 colors, you could get a 3-drop. And this deck does have 2 Abundant Growth in it. So we could technically exile a 5-drop. It is possible. It can be done. But there aren't that many 5-drops we need to remove in Legacy. But it is cool to know that in a pinch, this can exile something like Jace the Mind Sculptor. So Prismatic Ending, super versatile removal spell out of MH2. I have a feeling I'm going to play a lot of this card in the coming years, but this is my first chance to put it on the table. Let's see how it performs. Out of the sideboard, this is a super hateful sideboard. It's totally my style because I helped build it. And rest in peace. Like, these are the sort of cards I want in my white sideboards. Like, I want to just shut down whole strategies. So rest in peace. This comes in not only in the unfair matchups, but, I mean, Delver, like I said, Endurance, Delver decks right now care about Delirium. They care about Delve. Like, rest in peace. You're out of here. Then you just have to beat the card Delver of Secrets and Ragavan, and you'll be fine. Aethersworn Canonist, shut down those combo decks. Containment Priest, shut down combo decks. More Endurance, love that, and Null Rod, shut down those combo decks. Like, this is exactly the sort of card I want to play. Back to basics, shut down lands decks. I'm in for that. And then there are some spunky specials here. Moat and Court of Grace. So there are still decks in the format that are trying to attack on the ground. Decks like Maverick or I guess you could bring in it's like Dredge or Eldrazi. Eldrazi's a big one. They can never beat Moat. So Moat is here for when we want to shut down a fair creature matchup. And then Court of Grace is here if we do run into some sort of ponderous blue control mirror. Court of Grace is a big hammer in that sort of matchup. So that's the deck. This is exactly my style. I love it. It was a pleasure working with Spunky to develop it, and I'm glad he came back with these updates. So I'm here to try him. Let's get into this. Before we get into these games, just a quick clarification. I'm editing this in after I've already played the entire league. The abundant growths in this list that Spunky sent me were a typo, a mistake, a brain fart. It was actually supposed to be to abundant harvest, which is a very different card. So during the course of the league, Abundant Growth was actually pretty good, but in your head, do a thought experiment. If every time I draw Abundant Growth, think to yourself, what if this was Abundant Harvest? And just decide for yourself what you'd rather be doing. So sorry for the confusion. Enjoy the games. On the draw, in round number 1, I have an Abundant Growth that I can't cast, but I do have Tundra with Ponder. I'm going to keep this. I do wish that I had basic island or basic forest to operate off of, but this is not a mulligan. It's just not quite my BoshNRoll Immune to Wasteland special wish list hand. But we are on the draw, so we get a look before we have to do anything. We're getting Thoughtseize. I'm not going to force some negation of Thoughtseize. That gives them a 2-for-1 when I don't have to, and this could just be like a Delver deck where force negation doesn't even matter. It's more likely a combo deck. But that said, there's always the possibility that it's just like Grixis Delver and they don't even care about force negation, and then forcing it is bad, and then they could even daze the force, and then I'm just down 3 cards. So yeah, the answer to that is no. I found my green source. That's nice. I'm going to hide that for now and just cast my Ponder. So Ponder found Jace Tundra additional Ponder. I am going to shuffle this. I don't actually need any of those cards. Like, my hand cantrips pretty well. I see more stuff. I am looking for forces because I suspect this is a combo deck based on the fact that they cared about force of negation. And decks that have Thoughtseize in them, like Underground Sea Thoughtseize, this could be Doomsday. If it is Doomsday, I really want to find the Endurance. Even if it's Ad Nauseam Tendrils, Endurance is good there too. So the main deck Endurance is my juiciest out right now. So they shuffled their Ponder. They did a lot of cantripping there. Alright, drawing this fetch land was awesome because I really did want to cast Brainstorm this turn, but Alright, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put back Snow-Covered Island and I guess Tropical Island? Yeah, yeah, I can just fetch another one. So I'm going to put those 2 back. Found the Force of Will. That's great. I'm going to basic forest Abundant Growth here. Put the growth on the forest, just in case they are a surprise wasteland deck, which I really don't think is the case, but gotta always respect it. Now I have a Force of Will. I can decide next turn, if I get a next turn, I can decide if I want to jam Teferi to make sure my Force of Will stick, or if I want to start deploying threats and drawing extra cards with Shark Typhoon. And I'm pretty sure Teferi is the answer. This Volcanic Island is a little sus. Doomsday probably does not have a Volcanic Island in it. So this is starting to look more like a Dark Ritual Storm deck. It could still just be Grixis control, honestly. Like, based on what we've seen. All of these cards could be in Grixis control. That's just not the vibe I got off their starting play. So I'm going to jam Teferi here and hopefully get a little more information about what they're up to. And I am going to search up the Tropical Island. Maybe I don't get Teferi here. Like, I could play around Daze or Counterspell for a turn and just develop with Shark Typhoon. Yeah, I changed my mind. That Volcanic Island was just new information to me. If they had not played the Volcanic Island, I would have jammed Teferi. Shit, we're probably dead. Uh, the Duress beats us. If they have the win here, the Duress beats us even through Teferi, so that's fine. Actually, if they start comboing this turn, we're going to be better off by not Teferiing, because I will be able to cycle Shark Typhoon for 0, draw a card, and I could find Brainstorm to keep looking. There's an Infernal Tutor. So Infernal Tutor's on the stack. Oh, Past in Flames is already in the graveyard. I should probably make my move now if I'm going to make it. Cycle Shark Typhoon for 0. Gives me a chance to draw a Force or a Brainstorm here. Let's go. Let's go. That wasn't it. Alright, we're dead. So they are Ad Nauseam Tendrils. So did they get a Cabal Writ? Yeah, the Past in Flames is already squeaky clean. Endurance would have easily won this game. So they have 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, they just have a clean path straight up to Tendrils. They don't... It is completely deterministic. I'm going to pack it up and bring in my Endurances and my Null Rods. Yeah, it's really tough to beat Storm with blue decks in game 1. Definitely are here for sideboard cards. Alright, so Ethersworn Canonist, the Endurances, Flusterstorm, Nullrod are all absolute bangers. Rest in Peace does play in the matchup. Engineered Explosives, if they do have to pivot onto an Empty the Warrens, then Explosives is really good. Hullbreacher I like. Swords of Plowshares I do not like. Jace the Mind Sculptor I do not like. What else don't I like? Sylvan Library is probably a little slow. I'm cutting more cards than I'm bringing in. I like Supreme Verdict that it pitches to Force of Will, and if they do go for like a mid-game Goblin line that isn't out, if I'm gonna bring in Rest in Peace, like, I guess the question is, do I want Rest in Peace? And if I do, then Uro is the cut. I have enough flash threats that I can just deploy and beat them down. I don't really need to worry about Jace or Uro to win a game. I just need to survive that long, basically. So if I bring in one of the Rest in Pieces in combination with the 3 Endurance, like, that's actually a lot of graveyard hate. So I think that's all I want to do. I don't mind the 1 Prismatic Ending being in here, because if they do have like Xantid Swarm, which is out of favor these days, but having at least one answer to it is nice. Teferi also bounces Xantid Swarm, and just bringing in this permanent based disruption also helps beat cards like Xantid Swarm, because I'm not relying on my counter spells. So I think that this is the deck I want to submit. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, this hand is solid. If they turn 1 me, they win, but if they don't, I'm going to be in a good situation. So I don't have a blue card for this Force of Will, but I do have Ethersworn Canonist on turn 2. And they're just preordaining. I'll take it. I'm going to get Canonist in first, before Rest in Peace, because that really slows down their ability to like preordain and cantrip and fix their mana, and that's how they beat hate cards. So it's like a hate card that self-protects. I'm going to get Tundra here because I need white mana when I'm playing my basic. And because I don't have a blue card with Force of Will, I'm extra interested in getting a hate piece down quickly. Like, there is an argument to leading on Sylvan Library, so like, because that's a card that the longer it's in play, the better it gets. But I need to put my shields up first. And because of Ethersworn Canonist, this Ponder is the end of the turn. They can still play Lotus Petals and stuff out if they want to do that, but they don't get to like Ponder, Lotus Petal, Abrupt Decay, win the game. Oh, baby. Okay, so now I have a blue card, and it's also a blue card that obliterates cantrips, so I really hope they just Brainstorm on their turn, and the game ends. So they're fetching in my end step. They can Brainstorm now. Oh yeah, you're out of here. So I'm going to get the Trop because Endurance is in my deck. Bang. And they just packed it up immediately. Yeah, that's how you breach some halls. Okay, that was an easy one. We had hate pieces. Now they know about Hullbreacher. Now they know about Canonist. If they didn't have all their abrupt decays and stuff in the deck, now they do. But they probably had them anyway, because they should expect stuff like that out of a Bant deck. Or maybe not Hullbreacher, but definitely Canonist, or at least Null Rod. So they should have had those answers in anyway. But what changes can I make here? I guess Supreme Verdict versus Jace is kind of interesting because they're both 4-mana cards. They both pitch to Force of Will. Supreme Verdict is only good at all if they go for a Goblin line in the mid-game situation where I can get to 4 mana. But Jace is something that I can just jam and take over a game with. So I think splitting those actually makes more sense than having 2 Supreme Verdicts. So all of my counterspells are in. All of my flash threats are in. I've left 1 hate piece in the sideboard, but it's the worst one, and I have a lot of other ones. So I'm happy with this configuration. Alright, I have double force, double blue card. That's a keep. This hand is not going to get collapsed by a Thoughtseize or a Duress. It might get collapsed by a Xantid Swarm, though. Alright, just preordained to start. So unless I draw something different, I'm probably just going to play the Tropical Island and hold up Brainstorm. Abundant Growth would be a cool draw here. Oh my god, I'm cheating. Alright, Abundant Growth. That's how this channel works. I say the name of the card I want, then I draw it immediately. The reason I wanted that card is it's just like the type of thing that it's easy to do on turn 1 with 1 mana sitting around. And it sets up the rest of the game in a really helpful way. Like, I probably don't want to commit mana to that much later than turn 1 or 2. Carpet of Flowers. Yeah, we played around that perfectly. Yeah, the only soft permission in my deck is the Flusterstorm. So that's mostly fine. I think I want to Brainstorm first here. So Brainstorm, that found all sorts of juice. I have a choice of how far I want to go to play around this Carpet of Flowers. Like, I can fetch basic Plains next turn and Abundant Growth it, but I think that's worse than just keeping my velocity moving forward and playing the growth this turn. Or, though, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just fine. So this is actually a pretty tough Brainstorm. I think maybe Shark Typhoon can go back in, because I'm not quite ready for that. And I want the Supreme Verdict because it's an easy pitch to force. And the explosives are kind of awkward because, like, if I want it, I really want it, but if I don't want it, it's bad. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is leave Engineered Explosives on top and just pass the turn. I'm not actually going to move forward with the Abundant Growth plan. I will play around Carpet for another turn. Just every turn that they don't gain advantage off a card favors me. Every turn that this game goes favors me. There's a Ponder. So I will fetch for basic Plains in my upkeep if they don't make a bunch of goblins this turn. It looks like Ponder did not shuffle and they're just passing. That's a deal. Alright, so we go to my upkeep. Basic Plains coming. Plains. Ice-Fang Coatl, I like that. Abundant Growth this. I did it that way because there was a chance that I can continue to play around Carpet of Flowers if I find a fetch land or another non-island land, like so. So I'm going to put the Misty in my hand. I'm going to play the Misty. And now I have Prismatic Ending on top, which can exile the Carpet of Flowers and then free my lands if I decide that's important based on what happens this turn. Now, this Carpet of Flowers, because of Abundant Growth, like 100% because of Abundant Growth, this Carpet of Flowers basically was just like Ravenscryme yourself. Though it will eventually get a card. Like if I do cast the Prismatic Ending, the Carpet will get a card off me. It looks like they're passing the turn again. They did shuffle that Ponder. And now we're up high enough where Supreme Verdict actually does destroy things. We've bridged to the point where we can actually deal with goblins. So white, exile the Carpet. My carpet's gone. My mana is free. I'm not quite so free as to just jam an Uro right now. I do like having double force with a flash threat and a brainstorm if they have something to check me. I'm gonna Coatl in the end step. Time to get the beatdown going. This is drawing the last of the cards I saw off of that Ponder, which is another land, which doesn't hurt. Hullbreacher. That's the card that won last game on the spot. So they didn't cantrip last turn. They shuffled a Ponder, drew for turn, played a land, and passed. So they are kind of hurting for action right now. And I am just gonna deploy the Hullbreacher for beatdowns. Like, surprising them trying to snipe a Brainstorm is not that important compared to reducing their life total for ad nauseum. And if they spend an Abrupt Decay on this, that's an Abrupt Decay they don't have for the Null Rod or the Aethersworn Canonist that I'll eventually find. Yeah, so there's the Decay. No problem. Based on how they played this game so far, we had to assume they had at least one of those. So I can put Uro in. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can put Uro in. I think that Brainstorming makes more sense, though. Though my hand's already really good. What am I even looking for with Brainstorm? And the answer to that question is one of my permanent-based answers. So I actually do want to Brainstorm. Teferi's pretty solid. Okay, let's sequence this out. I can Uro, which puts in Forest, and then I can cast Teferi and still have 1 Force of Will available. I don't think that's enough. So I am just gonna tuck the Teferi and the Forest, and I'll pass the turn with double Force still available. I could even hardcast one of them. Another land from the opponent, another land go. Do I want Teferi? Like, I can just draw both these cards, like flash in the Coatl, draw Teferi, go to my draw step, get the Forest. Or I think I want to shuffle. Yeah. With bangers like Aethersworn Canonist and Endurance and just like the cards, the quality of card I could find here is just so good that something like Teferi that just like is kind of okay is not interesting to me. So I'm gonna Ponder off of Tundra. Ice-Fang Coatl. I am gonna shuffle that too. Okay, Shark Typhoon I like. Right, in for 2. I'm just gonna make a huge shark in their end step. Pass the turn with double force plus Brainstorm again. Wow, they're just passing the turn again. Either their hand is just really bad, or they're just really scared of Hullbreacher, or they have a master plan, and I have no idea what level they're on, and I'm going to lose very easily to some unbeatable sequence. Those are basically the things that could happen here. So 3/3 Shark brings the beats. Even if they can remove the Shark, I've already drawn a card off it. Just slowly pulling ahead here. Jace the Mind Sculptor. There's that thing I boarded in. So attack for 5, see what happens. Here they come. Opponent's at 9. I think using actual Brainstorm makes more sense than Jace here. Alright, Flusterstorm, Narset, Aethersworn Canonist. That's the sort of thing we were looking for here. So I'm going to put Jace and Uro back into the deck. Then 1, 2, 3. I can Narset and Canonist and still hold up Fluster. White, white, or blue, blue. There's Narset. And I have to do it in this order because if I play Canonist, I don't get to play Narset because I've already Brainstormed this turn. But we're starting to get the hooks in here. Like the real hooks. Narset resolved. Activated immediately. I don't want to pass priority and let them destroy it. I'll grab Shark Typhoon. That's the thing that's going to get the game over quickly. And then here is Aethersworn Canonist. Good luck. And their hand probably contains some large number of answers to stuff. Like, Veil of Summer makes perfect sense. That's a card they would have. I'm glad we got through that Veil. because my hand is largely reliant on... Okay, it was good enough. Yeah, their hand must have been pretty bad, or they waited too long to try to find discard, or something went wrong there. But we got to the point where it's turn 9. That's a game I'm gonna win, and I did. So good start to this league. I'm on the draw with a hand that is an absolute banger in any fair matchup and a complete blank in any unfair matchup. So I'm gonna keep. Like I'm pretty comfortable with this hand against even Delver. If they just, jam Show and Tell on the stack or cast Arc Ritual, I'm gonna lose. Okay, so it looks like we are in Delver Town. I am extremely interested in prioritizing basic lands because I want my Coatls to have the touch when it's time. So hopefully I just draw a Misty Rainforest this turn, or Prismatic Vista. I mean, it doesn't matter. There is an X1 I can block for now, but I'd also like to play around Wasteland. Okay, so I can spend a turn cantripping, or not. Or I could just deploy Coatl, get my trade or my Lightning Bolt out of this Dragon Rage Channeler. That does expose me to Wasteland a little bit more than I want to be. And if they Daze this Ponder, I'll just make my land drop and send him packing. Alright, I found my Misty Rainforest. There's a Brainstorm under it. I don't think I need Brainstorm this game. Like, my deck is here to put things in the way of Delver and absorb damage. Alright, so they used a Lightning Bolt in the end step pretty aggressively to flip Delver. Like, they get the Surveil trigger, so they get an extra look with Delver. And if they put a creature into the graveyard with Surveil, this becomes a 3/3. So, yeah, I think we're definitely not going to have time to Brainstorm yet this game. Though, maybe I'm being silly and I should just keep Brainstorm in my hand, because I can just... That doesn't affect anything I was gonna do and does help set up the later game. Alright, yeah, I take it all back. I am drawing the Brainstorm, and I'm gonna play basic island for turn, and then I can fetch and make Coatl in their combat step. Just playing, and it has the touch. I'm playing on basics. Next turn I can Uro and also Coatl. Yeah, the Uro building, saving up a bunch of, or regaining a bunch of life is going to be really nice. So Snow Forest, that's what I want. They can Lightning Bolt this, they can Force of the Will this, whatever. If they do, I get extra cards and gain some life. If they don't, I eat their Delver. So, yeah, sure. We got a Lightning Bolt out of that one. Gain 3 life one way or the other. So we do take 4, though. It's going to be time for Uro to do something. Ooh, okay. So Uro literally just needs to bridge the gap into Supreme Verdict at this point. And here comes Uro. Gaining the 3 life is going to be huge. I did just play into the Daze Wasteland trick. I'm glad they didn't have it. Because I have a fetch land, they could have wasted my fetch. I fetch in response, then they Daze Uro. And I'm glad that didn't happen, because I did not properly play around it. Alright, Prismatic Ending was a pretty good draw. Target this. I'm not going to play around the Daze Wasteland trick again, because I have Supreme Verdict lined up. I guess I don't, because they can waste me off double white. Ah, fuck. Should have played around it. Oh, but because they went for the Daze Wasteland trick, I get to Supreme Verdict next turn. Okay. That was a weird sequence. Yeah, I don't know who's ahead here. Alright, so if they have Lightning Bolt that surveils a creature into the graveyard, I lose. But if they don't, I Supreme Verdict, and then I'm stable at 5. Ugh, this has been a dicey game. I think I want to ponder first, because if they do end up dazing me, I just don't want them to know that that's an option yet. Alright, Force of Will is not really part of my plan for this game, so I'm going to make my land drop and then Verdict them. And now I just gotta avoid double bolt until I can get this Uro into play. So maybe Force of Will should have been part of the plan. That just keeps me alive from double bolt for a turn. And I definitely wanted to make this land drop, but I think maybe the Force of Will should be the second card, or the card I draw for turn, instead of just completely burying it 3 cards down. And Supreme Verdict versus Delver, though. I love this card. This is my invitational card. If I had one, it would be that. Okay, so I can play the Flooded Strand. I can even just play the front half of this Uro, so I'm less committed to other potential lines. Okay, so I'm going to play the front half of this Uro just to gain 3 life. If they did just like ponder up a Force of Will to protect themselves from the Uro coming into play, now I have the force in my hand and I can Coatl and force a bolt. So like I have plays here against a variety of things. Dashing Ragavan. I'm gonna... I guess I should have let them attack first, but sure. I guess let me see if Coatl's gonna resolve. And then, okay, yeah, so they had Force of Will. So do I force their force or do I force their Ragavan? This is not really that interesting of a decision, actually. I'm gonna force their force, which will put my Coatl into play. Like, they only have 1 card, so they can't, like, land bolt Coatl from here. And this does recoup the card I just lost to the Force of Will, so yeah, that was the play. I guess if I was ready to commit to that line, I should have let them attack with Ragavan. Because now they can just not attack, pick it up, and save it for later. But I'm bringing Uro into play this turn, so you might as well get in. Like, Ragavan's never doing anything this game, I promise. And then here comes Uro, and that should shut it down. Blue, blue, green, green. I don't have any, like, Snapcaster Mages or Light from the Loams or Tarmogoyfs or anything that care about my graveyard. And I don't think they do either. Or they care about their graveyard. They don't care about my graveyard. And now I'm just going to sit here with this Hullbreacher and blow out their Hail Mary Brainstorm. So I'm not sure what sequence of cards could even win them this game. Alright, well, Hullbreacher, let's go. If they want to do the Wasteland Daze trick again with their last card in hand, it's not a big deal. Okay, and now it's time to smash. What do they have? Is this Brazen Borrower? It is Brazen Borrower. Interesting. So I can brainstorm and try to find a counterspell to just blow this out completely. Or I can ignore it. Yeah, I'm just going to ignore it. Whatever. I'm still winning this game pretty cleanly. So here comes 3 damage from that. And here comes the other Uro from the bin. Uro's on the stack. Uro's in play. Lands in play. I'm going to Abundant Growth my Plains. And then I'm going to fire in this Uro as well. I'm just padding my life total at this point. I don't think they can burn me out from 12, but I might as well go to 15. I have seen Price of Progress in these decks before. Whoops. I lost track of what basics I had. I meant to brainstorm here, but I should have fetched with the Flooded Strand if I was going to do that. I thought I had 3 islands. My bad. Took 1 damage for no reason. If they kill me from 14, when they couldn't have killed me from 15, I deserve it. Oh wait, did I misclick the Uro as well? Wow. Didn't even notice that happened. Great. Just confused by Magic Online, because I'm a dummy. Alright. Good thing we're so far ahead that none of this matters, because that was pretty bad. Alright, I don't think I need this Swords to Plowshares anymore. I can attack with Hullbreacher. Yeah, for some reason my brain just thought that they would put the Uro that was already in play on the left and put the new one on the right, but I guess it just didn't. So I have Coatl, I have Shark Typhoon. If I Jace here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's Jace. I'm gonna plus target them. No, you can keep Daze. I'm done worrying about Daze this game. Coatl can beat Brazen Bar, which they can't even cast. Then time for a Shark. I'm just tapping out into Daze because it's not a spell. Got a 3/3 Shark. They're on a 2-turn clock now. No, you can have Lightning Bolt. I just don't care, is the thing about Lightning Bolt. It's probably one of the better cards they could have here, but I just don't care at all. I do have enough to put Uro back in now, so I should probably do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There he is. Definitely don't care about Lightning Bolt. And you're up. Dead on board, even through Lightning Bolt. We know their hand isn't helpful. It's Daze, Lightning Bolt, and 1 mystery card. I can deploy this Coatl. Just give them something else to bolt. Force a Will back up to make it all happen. I'm going to decline Sylvan Library just to save a couple seconds on my clock, because it doesn't matter. And they're dead. Okay, so I lost track of how many basic islands I have, which set me back a brainstorm, and I misclicked and kept the wrong Uro. Neither of which mattered because this deck is just built to farm Delver. Alright, so Engineered Explosives, Carpet of Flowers, Endurance, Prismatic Ending all coming in. I kind of like Flusterstorm. It's a lot better than Forces, especially of Negation. Jace is kind of risky in a matchup where the opponent is going to have Red Blast and Bolts and stuff. And Daze and Wasteland. I do like Uro. So a cool thing about having Endurance in the sideboard is that even though I do like Rest in Peace in this matchup, I think I like Uro more. And I have the 2 Endurances to pressure their, or the 3 Endurances to pressure their graveyard in a way that matters. So basically, what this macro plan looks like is I have Swords to Plowshares, 2 Prismatic Endings, 3 Ice-Fang Coatls, and the 3 Endurances to control Delvers and Ragavans and Dragon Rage Channeler. And then I have Teferi, Supreme Verdict, Swords to Plowshares to control Murktide Regent at the top end. So I have a lot of answers to all of the different types of things in their deck. A turn 1 Ragavan getting Rowdy is probably one of my more concerning things. But even then, I have 6 answers to that, which is a lot more than most decks have. I could bring in Containment Priest just as a flash creature that interacts with Ragavan. Just another flash threat. Do I think that's better than Force of Will? That's a good question. And I think the answer is no. Like, having 1 force to dig for when the game is like tenuous but you're ahead, like, that's a good way to just shut the door. So I'm gonna run it like so. Oh, I'm gonna keep this Endurance hand. This hand does not answer a Ragavan, but let's just hope it doesn't have to. Rip. I can force the Ragavan. That's a super punishing Daze, but I think it's worth it. Ouch. Okay. Wasn't worth it. Probably dead now. I don't even think that's necessarily true. Like, let's just draw Plow. Alright, so Ragavan's going to connect once, for sure. And then we'll see what happens after that. I have a Coatl that can challenge it. It's interesting they're preordaining before combat. I guess they're trying to dig for another answer before I put Plow on the stack, but I would have just plowed on my turn when they didn't have Daze up. Alright, they stole my Tundra. And they're going to cast, what, Delver? Okay, yes, it is in fact Delver. So, another Coatl. That's really good. I guess I can... I don't think they have Stifle. That's just not a card that's really in these decks right now. And if they have it, I'm going to get blown out. And that is the way of things. I'm going to let this resolve. The tension here is if I sneak in Coatl now, they might not find a Daze off of that. But if I cast Coatl first, then they're going to know that they're going to want Lightning Bolt off of that. which Daze and Lightning Bolt are both cards they want anyway. So we'll just see. I didn't expect that to resolve, but I definitely don't expect it to get to blocks if it does resolve. So yeah, there's the Bolt. Sure. So Ragavan gets to continue getting rowdy. It stole a Teferi that they can't cast. You can only play the card this turn, so Teferi's gone. Not a big deal. That was a good draw. I am going to commit to playing around Wasteland and Daze for another turn. And then next turn I can Endurance while also playing around Daze. We're just slowly getting big, working up the curve here. Coatl again. A Force of Will. Alright. Force pitching Delver. Here this comes. Ragavan hits. They can cast basically anything they find. Ooh, Abundant Growth was a pretty good one. Yeah, so they can get a cantrip off of that, put it on their Volcanic Island. Sure. So if I draw a white source, I just wipe this board, and no questions asked. If I don't, I get to cast Endurance and play around Daze. Oh, please, white source. Come on, white land. Let's go. Alright. Wasn't a white land. It's okay. We'll find one eventually. So Delvers, maybe they won't flip again. Alright, Delver didn't flip again. These are the world's least cooperative Delvers. So they would need 2 Lightning Bolts to clear Endurance before it comes into play. Or before it can block. They can lose their Ragavan and 1 Bolt. Okay, so cast green, green, colorless. I'm going to leave up blue, because it doesn't matter what I leave up. But this at least bluffs Flusterstorm or something. I'm going to target them. That proactively addresses Murktide Regent and Dragon's Rage Channeler. It's not going to arrive as a 3/3. Do they have the Bolt to finish it off? Wow, just nope. Nothing. Okay, that was a good draw. I'm going to put Abundant Growth on my island. Now I can Supreme Verdict if I need to. But I'm currently ahead on board, and I don't think I need to. I'm just going to hold back. I don't want to take a hit from these Delvers. And now that I have all 3 Endurance... Okay, they revealed Bolt. The Delvers flipped. They couldn't answer an Endurance last turn, so they're likely to offer the trade of Bolt for an Endurance here. And they're going to be really disappointed in the result. So now that this Endurance is in, I wonder if they still want to trade off their Bolt, or if they're just going to pivot to try to bolt my face out. Because I think that's probably a better plan at this point. Alright, they disagree. I don't know what they have over there that they think is going to beat this Endurance board, but I do think that they probably should have just held that Bolt with me at 8 until try to get 3 of them. Which, I mean, doesn't feel great, but I think it's better than just losing the game. I'm gonna Endurance again in the end step. Just keep this graveyard under control and double my clock. My opponents had nice top decks. Shut up. These were literally in my opening hand. My deck is built to beat Delver. Yeah, so if you look at a game, if you're playing Delver and you look at a game where your opponent casts Ice-Fang Coatl, Endurance, 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 and your response is nice top deck, nice luck you have, then you just don't understand how Legacy works. Well, that was a clean, easy win against the deck we're supposed to beat, so GG's opponent, even if you don't think so. On to the next round. I'm on the draw with a basic Island Ponder hand. That's a keep. I have Force of Will and Swords of Plowshare. Like, this is literally the perfect blue deck hand, because Force is good in some matchups, Plow is good in some different matchups, and whichever matchup we're in, Brainstorm can get rid of the other card. So this is what we're here for. Chalice on 1 is not what I'm here for. I'm going to pitch my Ponder for that. I do have some answers. Like, there's Teferi in the deck, and speak of the devil, he'll be good eventually. Does ending, is it X or less or X? Less than or equal to? Okay, cool. So Prismatic Ending also exiles Chalice of the Void. That's a big deal. But Teferi and Prismatic Ending are main deck answers to that. Okay, so I'm just gonna pass with my Brainstorm. I want to get full value out of this because I don't think Swords to Plowshares is going to be part of this game. All right, another Monolith. They're cranking out the Monoliths. All right, cool. So now I can full value Brainstorm. Do I think this is going to be a Wasteland deck? So decks like this are like probably like 80-20 not Wasteland versus our Wasteland. But if it is a Wasteland build, I don't want to just be dead. So I'm going to fetch basic Island to cast this Brainstorm with. And I am going to do it in the main phase in case I find Ponder or something else I want to cast main. So I'm going to ship these 2 plows. And I'm not going to shuffle right away. I'm just going to pass. And in case they play a creature this turn that I care about, I want to float the plow on top, but I suspect that any creature they put on this deck will end the game immediately, like Ulamog. So they Vesuvied their Ancient Tomb. I do have Force and Teferi, so do I force the Golos? I think yes, I easily force the Golos. I guess that's something that Swords to Plowshares could have answered, but if they just tutor up like Ayavugan or a Cloud Post and start jumping my other answers, I think I'm just gonna go in on this Sylvan library. Though the Golos is a creature that's worth casting Swords to Plowshares on some amount of the time. Though a lot of the damage is already done when it does that. Okay, the turn 4 Chalice of the Void is not nearly as bad as the turn 1 Chalice of the Void. So, and library's already in, so I've got options now. Swords to Plowshares probably not staying in my hand here. I'm gonna put back the Plow and the Ponder. I'm gonna play Plains and pass the turn. So they've tapped their Ancient Tombs a number of times. 4 of their 5 mana comes out of Ancient Tomb right now, so Shark Typhoon, Ice-Fang Coatl, these flash threats are going to clock them pretty quick, and they'll eventually run out of life points to make mana with. I just gotta hope the game's over before then. Alright, 3 ball's fine. That doesn't affect Shark Typhoon. Oop. They just tap their Ancient Tomb, but then realize that they just cast Trinisphere, so you don't get to do that. I want Tropical Island here to start padding my Uro profile. Like, when I find the Uro, I do want to be able to do it. So here's a 2/2. Endurance, nice. That's another beefy flash threat. Happens to cost 3 already. So, top. So I'm just gonna put the gas on here. I'm not gonna mess around with Narset. Like, this is Endurance and Shark Typhoon's game to win. If they tap their Ancient Tomb, they go to 7. If they tap them both, they go to 5, and that's how much I can attack for. So I think that they're gonna run out of time this game. Yeah, turn 6 and they just found their first Cloud Post in the Cloud Post deck. That's not how you want to play the game. Alright, yeah, Grim Monolith is fine. That's in. And then my attack will put them to 2, so they can't cast their... They can't tap either Ancient Tomb. I'm going to target myself with this because I have 2 Force of Wills in the graveyard, and that would be a good card to work my way into. But I guess that doesn't make sense because the card goes on the bottom, not anywhere else. Okay. Yeah, that didn't make any sense. Top. And I'm going to attack for my 5. And I am going to Narset this time, which does tap me out of Force of Will, but it does clear all these shitty ones off the top of my deck. So Narset's in, Activator, grab this Brainstorm. That was mostly just clearing the Sylvan Library cards. So they can't tap Ancient Tomb. They have... Oh, Cloud Post was good. They have 1 card left. They have 3, 4... They have 7 mana. That's actually a lot. They could do some harmful stuff with that. Okay, no, they just tapped their Ancient Tomb and died. Okay. Oh, scary stuff. But the Flash game is really good against the Ancient Tomb deck. Time to bring in answers to stuff. Back to Basics is crushing against their deck. Null Rod is really good against their deck. Engineered Explosives is an answer to Chalice. Prismatic Ending is an answer to Chalice. And then I have options on Endurance just as a flash threat, though the Graveyard Hate mostly doesn't matter. I like the Forces, all 5 of them. Jace is pretty good. I don't think I need Supreme Verdict. Plow seems pretty bad, like both because it doesn't have many targets and because they're a Chalice deck. I probably want to leave at least 1 in, just as a way to dig in case they do like resolve an Ulamog or something. I want to be able to remove it without bouncing it with Teferi specifically. Jace is really good against decks like this. Uro's hit or miss. I mean, hitting extra land drops is nice, but spending a turn that doesn't actually get on board is a problem. So these are definitely coming in. I have to cut 1 more card for sure, and then I have options on the Endurance. So Hullbreacher might be worse than Endurance. It's just, I guess they hit for the same amount. A 3/4 can block Golos and a 3/2 can't. So that's a consideration. Do I think they're more likely to draw cards or care about their graveyard in the matchup? Also, Hullbreacher is blue for my Forces, which are going to be pretty important to the plan. Right, I think I'm off Supreme Verdict the rest of the way. And I just cut another blue card, which makes me think I don't want to cut my Hullbreachers. So how am I winning this game right now? It's Hullbreacher, Coatl, Jace. I think I want to... Uro is a blue card. That's tough. Like, I want to be able to clock them. Though, with Back to Basics, clocking them's not as important because I do have another way to lock the game up. Alright, I'm going to just leave Uro in and leave the Endurances in the sideboard because Back to Basics does so much lifting in this matchup. I have a Force blue card, Uro. This is good. My opponent said in the chat that they expected Coatls and Uro, which is why they copied the Tomb, but the Shark and Endurance got them totally off guard. That is the Flash plan at play, and that's what the deck is built to do, so I'm glad it worked. Right, so they have the turn 1 Glimmer Post. That's good. That doesn't kill me immediately, which I always appreciate. Another Force. So I'm going to cast this Ponder. Let's keep the game moving forward here. Basically, the game at this point is stay alive until I can force, or I can Back to Basics. So this one isn't Back to Basics, but Null Rod is also real good. So I'm gonna not shuffle this. The Coatl does jump me a card deeper. So it's not like I'm just working through a slow and steady brainstorm here. I am not going to fight over this Chalice. That's not my plan this game. I'm going to Null Rod, which may or may not matter, but it turns off my Engineered Explosives, which I haven't drawn yet, but now they can't jump ahead with Grim Monolith. There it is. Yeah. So that takes the Grim Monolith line off the table. The fact that they have Cavern in their deck and that they named Eldrazi are both slightly disturbing to me. Like, did they pivot into just an Eldrazi deck post-board? Or were they an Eldrazi deck the whole time? Like, I'm not super well set up to beat just like a Thought-Knot Seer right now. Or is that just top end for later? Hard to know. Alright, the Chalice is looking pretty good here. I'm going to main phase the Coatl to try to hit my land drop. Could have also main phased Narset. I guess that would have made sense too. But Narset can't find lands. But I have this mono blue hand. Still not set up to beat a Reality Smasher, so I hope that's not what's coming. They are casting an Eldrazi. Okay, good. It's just Thought-Knot Seer. How often do you say that? So I suspect they'll take Jace. Like, Jace is definitely the most powerful thing here. Though they could take Narset because I can cast her. The Hullbreacher does jump in to double block Thought-Knot Seer, but hopefully I just draw a basic land, which checks the Thought-Knot Seer before I need to worry about that. They took Force of Will. Interesting. That makes me think they're going to try to resolve a Golos next turn. Okay. Misty Rainforest is the cat's pajamas, as they say. I think I want to get a forest off of this. I already have double blue. That gets me double green. I mean, not at the same time, obviously, but also this keeps me with all my colors if I find the back to basics. All right, here we go. And I'm going to brainstorm. I have all sorts of blue cards I don't really need. Swords of Plowshare is not helpful here. I'm going to hide the Sylvan Library on top because I don't want that stripped by a Thought-Knot Seer. And my Coatl is here to help manage combat. Based on what they did last turn, though, I expect some sort of creature that's not an Eldrazi to go on the stack this turn. There it is. I'm a freaking mind reader. Yeah, they lined that up really well. Didn't find the force. I'm probably going to have to use Narset just to clear the 1-drops off the top of my deck next turn. Because Jace is dying here. They ping Coatl. Oh no, they can't ping Coatl because I have Null Rod. Wow. I totally did all that on purpose. I get to have Jace for another turn. Yeah, you just put Null Rod into play, you forget it's there, no big deal, and then it wins the game for you. Alright, Jace, keep going. Let's take it back. Okay, so I think that Back to Basics will win this game right now. So I'm going to hide Prismatic Ending on top, because that can remove the Chalice next turn. And then I think we're basically lights out at this point. They can't put counters on Ballista either, even if they had mana, so they can attack with both creatures. Yeah, the Null Rod into Back to Basics was too good. Yeah, Jace. Yeah, Null Rod. Wow. Okay, yeah, Hateful Permanence, folks. I tell you all the time, if you watch my channel, if you look at my lists, I have Hateful Permanence. I'm not relying on removal spells and counter spells. Put permanence into play. Every blue deck should be a prison deck. Let's go. 3-0, next round. I'm on the play with a hand that I'm not going to mulligan, but I'm not the most excited about. Like, basically, I can Tundra Pass and just get Wastelanded. Or I can Plains Pass and not be able to Brainstorm if I need to. So, like, this is just tension that Delver players are used to, but I tend to build out of most of my decks. But I'm just going to play the Tundra Pass and get Wastelanded, obviously. Alright. Here we go. We're just going to draw lands. It doesn't matter. Nope. Lose the game instead. Okay. There's that. Alright, well, in all seriousness, I'm going to draw Prismatic Ending this turn, which I can cast off my island, or this plains, whatever this land is. And then I'm going to brick a draw step. Oh, good. We're playing against a deck that has no 1-drops. Alright. Probably dead here. So miss this land drop, pass the turn, and if I draw like runner lands and they don't continue adding Eldrazi to the board, we might have a chance. And the good news is this matchup is phenomenal. We just need to, keep hands that make sense for it. All right, I mean, that is a thick lad, but they can take a look at my hand and decide what they want to do about it. Yeah, with the Back to Basics in the sideboard, plus Supreme Verdicts, Swords of Plowshares, Ice-Fang Coatls in the main, like, this is one of the matchups you're pretty happy to play against. But hitting your land drops is absolutely essential. Alright, found a land. So I'm going to cycle Shark Typhoon for 0, because finding the land to put this Uro or Teferi into play is going to just be so important. God. Alright, well, I have one chance to find Force of Will off of this, so if I find exactly Force of Will into land, this game does have some play to it. Alright, that's Brainstorm, so 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't believe there are outs in the deck. I go to 5. I guess I could Brainstorm into 2 Swords to Plowshares. that could actually do it. Okay, so if I brainstorm into White Source Swords to or if my draw step plus brainstorm, if 3 of those 4 cards are White Source and 2 plows, oh, 1/3 of the way there. Here we go. Oh my god, that was so close. Yeah, just the White Source away, and it's the Tundra that's in the graveyard. Yeah, we were actually not that far off. that was rough though. Yeah, so great matchup. We just need to know what we're up against, so we can't keep sketchy hands that just died a Wasteland. All right, Moat comes in. Back to Basics come in. The rest of these cards don't come in. I'll look at what ends up happening with what I take out, but Endurance might be worth a spot just as a body that can jump into play. So I don't love all these Jaces. Force Negation is real bad. Hullbreacher. I think this is definitely a matchup where Endurance is better than Hullbreacher because I'm cutting some number of forces too, because they have caverns. So I don't need the blue count quite the same as I did in the other matchup. Prismatic Ending does answer. This being Exile is pretty nice, because we can just clear out Matter Reshapers and Endless Ones and Chalice of the Voids, so all of that is pretty good. I do want that. Maybe I don't need all 3 Endurances. I think I want the second Force of Will more than I want the 3rd Endurance. And Sylvan Library might be a little bit of a chunker in this matchup. Like, my life total is very much important to the matchup. So maybe Endurance is better than that. Though sneaking in a library on turn 2 will do a whole lot of work moving forward, but anytime after turn 2 it's really bad. Yeah, I'm gonna just do the Endurance thing. This is the plan. Alright, let's just keep a hand with 4 lands and a Swords to Plowshares. 1 land and a Ponder and a Brainstorm. And Island Ponder, right? This is what we live for. I can fetch Basic, which is really important here. Why would you fire off Once Upon a Time like this? That doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't have to be the first spell of the game. It just has to be your first spell of the game. So if you go to your turn, take your draw step, cast Once Upon a Time, you have more information to work with, and you see more cards ultimately. So that was really weird. Okay. They have an Eye of Ugin. If this Ponder shows me 3 lands, we're gonna win. Even 2 is probably enough. I'll take 1 to start. Okay, so Misty Rainforest is in the hand. I can Force of Will a Chalice of the Void. And I can Brainstorm plus Ponder next turn to set up. That's a lot of cards I get to see. Alright, they did in fact have the Chalice. I'm going to get rid of my Shark Typhoon for that. Burrow will do more for this matchup than Shark Typhoon will. So I get to Brainstorm here, which picks up the Ponder. I don't need Endurance yet, and Teferi is probably not where I want to be. I'm gonna fetch. I'm gonna get Basic Island again. Just want to play through my own Back to Basics, and okay. So if they have Thought Not Seer this turn, they can strip my Back to Basics. If they do anything else, I'm gonna win. Oh, maybe not. They get to name Prismatic Vista with this, and then wow, that sucks. That's such a stupid card for me to lose to right now. So now they get to name Vista, and I don't get to go Back to Basics, and they can Reality Smash on the following turn. Wow. That's absolutely brutal. I was all in on that play. Alright, so they have 5 power in play now. And I can just lose next turn, I guess. If they go Land Smasher. Jeez. Okay, so I take 5 here. They didn't have Smasher. That's good news. I take another 5 here because I know this isn't a land, and I need to find land right. I need to survive this turn and then find land. They can attack. The Mishra's Factory lets them attack for 7, so I'm actually just on a 2-turn clock. If I draw a land that just casts Uro, then I get to play another turn. Wow, okay. Dead to Sorcerous Spyglass, just picking this off. I was counting on this to cast either Uro or Back to Basics or Teferi, and it just didn't happen, so well played, opponent. On to the next round. Round number 5, playing for 4-1. Have I learned anything about one-landers yet? And I'm on the draw. I have Abundant Growth and Brainstorm. I'm going to keep. Like, I'm always harping about lands, play on Wasteland, play around days, hit your land drops, and last round is a study of why. Like, if the opening hand that I kept just, like, had 2 lands in it, I win that game. Like, if there's just, like, a different fetch land, if there's, like, Prismatic Vista and a different fetch land, or it's just basic plains or basic forest instead of fetch land, I win that game. So there's just a lot rides on having basics. So this is super awkward. I'm not going to jam Brainstorm into days anyway, but this fetch land does not get the forest, which I really want to cast this turn. So I'm just going to have to pass, and it might come down to Force of Willing a Daze on my Brainstorm if I don't draw the basic land. Alright, I've talked about this on the channel before. I really hate the turn 1 aggro flip my Delver with Brainstorm. I mean, as always, I don't know what's in their hand. They have more information than I do to make this decision with, but I just think that Brainstorm is going to do so much more over the course of the average Legacy game than flip a Delver. Okay, so second Delver's in. Now we're just racing to this Supreme Verdict. That's the whole plan. Let's find a basic forest this turn. Alright, Brainstorm's got to save me. And I do have to Force of Will a Daze if they daze my Brainstorm here. Alright, find basic forest, please. Yikes. Alright, we're in danger. So, Endurance, I don't think is gonna be super important. I'm gonna have to Prismatic Ending one of these Delvers. And I think I have to force this Daze too, if they have Daze here. Alright, it's just gone. That's lucky. Alright, if we fade Wasteland, there's a chance. Like, if this Caracas actually does stay in play for a little while, we might get to play this game. Otherwise, I'm going to be just, like, aggressively pondering, trying to hit my lands, find another answer to this other Delver. Alright, they exiled Forked Bolt with their Expressive Iteration, so that's pretty bad. If they had a land, they would have exiled it. Okay. Ooh. Looks like we are pulling forward against all odds here. Let's find the green source. I'm not keeping this plow. I need lands. Shit. Okay. This game is significantly more stressful than it needs to be because I'm missing land drops. Like, this hand, this is a hand that is built to eat Delver alive. But, like, I can't even cast the cantrips that are in my hand. I need green sources to make that happen. I don't think I'm ready to Force of Will a Brainstorm. But if they find the Wasteland, we're just buried. They found the Wasteland. We're in trouble. Yeah, this game's going to be pretty hard to win. Alright, well, I'm not casting Hullbreacher this game, so I'm going to Force, and I floated the white, so I have Daze Protection. They also had Force. That's a beating. Force pitching Force, sure. Okay, Ragavan's in. Yeah, we're not winning this one. I need Brainstorm into... Oh, I found the Brainstorm. Into Green Source Abundant Growth. That's the only way this game even pretends to be competitive, and it's still mostly not. So, put back Uro, or Teferi and Coatl. Play this. Abundant Growth, target this. So I have to Uro next turn. So I go to 4 off this attack. Oh, they're gonna get to cast a fairy, aren't they? I stack that poorly. So they get my Teferi if they want it. It's a pretty good one though. But that's fine because I didn't want my Teferi. And it's not fine, it sucks. But it's not as bad as it could be. So I fetch to 3 life, I Uro to 6 life, they attack me to 1, and then I still lose. And if they have Lightning Bolt anywhere along the way, we're out of here. Oh, that's interesting. They picked up their own Ragavan, I guess playing around removal. Makes sense. So I'm gonna fetch for an island here. Because if Uro finds Swords to Plowshares, I can cast it off the Flooded Strand. Alright, I'm at 6, which is effectively 1 on board. Dead to Lightning Bolt at any point, and I can't fight over it because they have Teferi. Ugh. Maybe they'll dash in a second Ragavan and try to kill me. It's a plus Teferi, so they can cast sorceries as instants. Yeah, now they're at the enviable position where they get to just farm me forever. Oh, and they can cast Hullbreacher. Yeah, we're dead. We're done. We're done. I give up. So, lands. Lands. This is 2 matches in a row where we're just losing because we can't cast our spells. One of the changes Spunky made to this iteration of the deck is he cut a land for the 2 abundant growths, like counting the extra cantrip as effectively a land and additional colored sources, which I think is mostly fine, but it has affected these last couple matchups pretty significantly. All right. Here comes all of these cards. Prismatic Ending can answer Klothys, which is something the deck could never do before. I do think that against Rug Delver, Rest in Peace is something I want, because if they have Tarmogoyf and Klothys, I need to answer that. So I need fewer Uros if we're doing the Rest in Peace thing. Then Force of Will is also not great. Force of Negation should be out already. Supreme Verdict's great. Sylvan Library is okay. Shark Typhoon is great. I think I want 1 Force in the deck, because the ending and playing to the board just does so much more. I guess Endurance is also sort of like a soft answer to Klothys. That's interesting. So these can come in. I don't want Back to Basics. I never like Back to Basics against Delver because you're not going to win by locking them out. They have Daze that can reset their lands, and they have Red Blast that can unlock their lands. Like if you pivot to like against Eldrazi or lands, like if you pivot to a place where you jam Back to Basics while they're tapped out, the game basically ends. But against Delver, they can play on 1 land, and they have ways to mitigate that. So last question here is, do I cut the other Uro for the other Rest in Peace, or I just do like a 2-in-1 in this direction sort of split? And I do think Uro plays well enough that, like, I haven't seen much of their deck yet. They might not even have Tarmogoyfs. They could just be blue-red with a small green splash that we happen to see the Tropical Island that game. Ugh. Mulligan. Okay, 3 lands. Keep. Alright, so I'm gonna actually... We're in the enviable position where I get to bottom 1 of the lands, because I have 4 of them. I'm gonna Ponder on turn 1 off Basic Island, and then I'm gonna hold up Hullbreacher and Endurance and try to scrap through this. So I'm not going to send the basic because that saves me a life. I'm going to want that basic eventually. I am going to send Misty Rainforest to the bottom, because I already have a green source in the forest, and Misty can fetch a dual land later when fetching basics is less essential. And so I can use the Prismatic Vista now to get Island. Flooded Strand can get the plains if I want it, and Misty Rainforest is still in the deck for later if I want to fetch dual lands. Alright, let's find some 1-mana interaction. Okay, this is the opposite of what happened in the previous games. So my deck does play 4 Plow to Prismatic Ending, so there's a lot of answers to 1-drops in the deck. I would like to draw some of them sometimes. Oh god, they started on Ponder. This deck got a pile of new 1-drops in Ragavan and Dragon's Rage Channeler. It's so rare that they start on Ponder anymore, but I love when it happens. I'm playing around Daze with the fetch land first. I'm going to keep the Plow, and I'll probably draw another land as well, because I do want to be able to keep playing around Daze. I'll just land go. What are they doing over there? What kind of game do they think they're playing against me that's going to work out well for them with going land go and ponder? I don't want this Caracas. I'm kind of interested in the ponder and the brainstorm. I will not shuffle this and just pass. So I can basic planes, kill something if they play it this turn, playing around Daze, and then I can just ponder. I can draw brainstorm and then ponder. Next turn, shuffle away if I don't find what I want, or if I do. So I'm just going to continue to hit my land drops and build up answers in my hand. That's my plan. Did not shuffle their brainstorm. Interesting. Okay. I like when that happens. So they could try to like dash Ragavan with force backup here. This list also might have Stifle in it. Just the fact that their rug is a little concerning. They're fetching the third land. They're just going to go for Klothys here. Yes, okay. Alright, so there's Klothys. That's not a huge deal. I mean, it's strong, but I did sideboard for it. So I draw the brainstorm here. And I could move on Hullbreacher or Endurance while playing around Daze. That fetches me straight into Wasteland, though. I think I want to ponder to start this off. Right, Caracas does not answer Klothys because it is not a legendary creature. Shark Typhoon is pressure, but I do want to shuffle. I think finding the Rest in Peace will be kind of important to me, or one of the endings. So I can play around Daze if I play my Tundra. Do I need to play around Daze here? I don't think so. They can Daze this if they want to. Alright, so I draw that. I can brainstorm now. I still have my land drop. They might Daze this brainstorm. I hope they don't. Okay, they didn't. I found Prismatic Ending. That's good. Put back Hullbreacher and Shark Typhoon in that order. And I can run this out now, but I don't really want to give them something to waste. Yeah, I think casting Prismatic Ending next turn while being able to play around Daze, or setting up a 2-turn line where I like Hullbreacher or Endurance on their turn, test their answers, then untap and remove Klothys. That might be the play. I have some amount of time before this is a major problem. Dashing Ragavan kind of sucks. I forget what I put on top. Is it Hullbreacher? Jesus Christ. I think it is. No, it's Shark Typhoon. Okay. They can't play that one. Jeez. Okay, Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf confirmed. So now I have reason to Swords to Plowshares. I'm not going to ending the Klothys here. Goyf's the 3/4. Yeah, I have some time, and they keep making mana with Klothys, which is pretty nice. They're not draining me out, which I appreciate. So they're gonna attack. I'm gonna plow Ragavan first. That's the one that is gaining card advantage right now, and I'm not interested in playing against that. And plow the Goyf as well. Alright, they're just gone. Another Goyf. You got it. Rest in Peace, maybe? Narset. So, I've been playing around Daze so far. I think I want to continue doing that. I guess another... Like, I could jam Endurance this turn. And then Endurance will bounce off Goyf for a little while. Or if they play another creature, I also flash in Hullbreacher. Yeah, definitely a flash threat, testing their answers. so I can untap and Prismatic Ending is going to be the plan. Alright, they finally are draining my life total. Probably means they don't have another Ragavan. Oh, JK. Totally add one. Okay, so here comes the attack. And here comes the endurance. Force of Will would be brutal here. They have not indicated they have that card by the way they've played this game so far. But, I mean, they do get draw steps. Oh, they do have that card. Shit. Okay. Force pitching Brainstorm. Endurance is gone. I'm taking 6 here. And they get to rag some more. They exiled Tropical Island. Would have liked that one. The dash on rag is really good, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Alright, so I'm gonna Coatl on my turn, because I do need to hit this land drop. It's part of the plan. Yeah, they just had Pyroblast. And I'm not quite dead. Blue-white Prismatic Ending. Ragavan is the card in their hand. So I can exile this 2-drop, but I am in serious trouble to Klothys plus Rag. I'm going to 4 this turn. Hullbreacher can ambush Ragavan next turn, but we're running out of breathing room here. Kind of desperately need Uro to buy some time. I need too many things. Yeah, I'm missing those land drops in the mid game. Maybe I should have shuffled away fewer lands than I did. They exiled another land from me. Still have 1 card in hand. I'm dead to Lightning Bolt. Surgical Extraction, my Endurance. Okay, so they're Hellbent. And stripping Endurances was pretty smart though, because that effectively counters a Klothys activation and gums up the board. So that's a good card to get rid of out of my deck. So I want to Coatl into Rest in Peace. That's how I can win this game. Cantrip into Rest in Peace. Cantrip creature specifically. Or Brainstorm into Plow and Rest in Peace. That's not quite what I wanted. I'm gonna Narset though. Here she is. Let's go. Found Carpet of Flowers. So I can play Carpet and then get Hullbreacher into play. And then I have to fade a draw step. Hullbreacher does at least. Alright, make blue, cast Hullbreacher. Hullbreacher does at least block Ragavan, but I'm dead to Lightning Bolt now. And Narset has to find another answer to Klothys. And I need to gain some life, or else I'm just dead to Lightning Bolt forever. They are in top deck mode, but we'll see how much that matters. They're just passing the turn. Come on, deck. Yes. Yes. Make blue. Okay, so Narset activate. Swords to Plowshares looks like a good one to have. Alright, so blue, blue, green. Blue, blue, green, green. Alright, here we go, Uro. Get them straight into play, the whole way into play. Even if they did top deck Bolt and they were slow rolling me, which would be insane of them to do to let me untap and get draw steps. They don't have Bolt, no way. They could have Red Blast. But even that, no, they would have Red Blasted Hullbreacher and killed me. So the card in their hand doesn't matter. I guess it could be Force of Will. That is an actual card that matters here. They're casting Endurance in response. Okay, so that's actually a card that matters too. Alright, sure. You have Endurance. Endurance hits me, clears out my bin. That's alright. Uro comes in. I gain 3 life from that. Put this into play. I think I should plow my Uro, actually. Yeah, just gaining 6 life here is more important than anything else that might happen. Okay, I'm at 11. Their hand is Ragavan. I'm running out of options here, but if I can answer this Klothys, we're actually doing pretty good. Which is the state of Klothys versus fair Uro decks. With them being at 25, like plowing Endurance and trying to race Klothys didn't make sense. So I do think, and I was losing Uro to the Klothys trigger anyway. I think that plowing Uro to gain 6 life was the way forward there, even though it feels bad. Okay, that's a smart attack with Ragavan. Because I have to either let them rag me or trade off with Endurance, and I can't do both. Let's see if they care about Narset or not. Rag. Alright, they're both attacking Narset. So if I want to save her, which I don't, I literally have Hullbreacher in play. Like, go ahead, kill my Narset. I hope they're like, yay, Hullbreacher died, ponder right now, and forget about Hullbreacher. Nope, just drew Delver. Okay, so what do I need to do here? Another Uro would be great. Shark Typhoon. Yes, use this ability. Make blue mana. So 1, 2. So I can make a 1, 2, 3. I need a 4/4 shark. That beats Delver and blocks Endurance and Ragavan. That's the one that does. 4 is the magic number here, so, and that gives me the most mana to continue operating on. And I'm doing this main phase because if I draw spells I want to cast, then I want to cast them. Like that one. Does that do anything? Yep. That's what I've been looking for the Klothys. I'm just like digging for an answer to Klothys for 100 turns, then ask, does it do anything when I draw it? Okay, shields are up. We're at 9. We have the board beat. Now we just have to top deck better than them. This has been an insane game. Lightning Bolt. So they can bolt a Hullbreacher, or they can force a trade with my shark somewhere. If they attack with Endurance and Delver, okay, just no attacks. That's what I want to see. Let's just keep drawing spells. Hell yeah. Make green. Now it's bangers, bangers, bangers. We navigated the small game. Now we're in the big game, which favors me. I am at 9, though, and they have Lightning Bolt. So, like, if either of these 3-power creatures connect, I'm a bolt away from being dead. I have Hullbreacher in play. The shame concede. Yeah, they forgot about that one. Okay. Great game, great game. Now that I've 100% seen Tarmogoyf and Klothys, they are the full Rug Delver. The second Rest in Peace comes in. I think Force of Will comes out. Just 0 of those. Not interested. Play into the board. Carpet won that game. Well, a lot of things had to happen to win that game, but it did work out well for me. Still not interested in Back to Basics. I like what's going on here. Maybe I do want... No, I don't want 3 Uros if I also have 2 Rest in Pieces. Though I do like the 2 Uros that I have. I could bring in Moat, now that I've seen Endurance and Tarmogoyf, but I don't think that's gonna... That's not what I want to do. Nah. Because most of my creatures attack on the ground too. So, here we go. This is the deck. This hand, on the draw, I have Basic Forest Abundant Growth and a fistful of sideboard cards. I'm going to keep this. Like, I have multiple answers to a 1-drop, a cantrip, way to fix mana, like, and they let on Ponder again. I love when that happens. Such a relief. We haven't seen Dragon Rage Channeler out of them because I assume that's because they're Rug. They're just doing a different thing. I am gonna commit to the Abundant Growth. If they want to daze it, set themselves back a land of development, like, I don't actually need Abundant Growth in this situation. So setting them back a turn while I continue to play around daze and build up all these answers is totally fine with me. And they didn't daze it, so we're just in there. Ooh, just Ponder again. Didn't dash a Ragavan. They did not shuffle this Ponder. Just Volcanic Island go. Keep counting it. I'm just gonna Flooded Strand go. Not playing into daze. It's not gonna happen. They have their 3rd land. Is this the Klothys? It is the Klothys. Not what it once was. Still pretty good though. So they could have Force of Will. to protect their play here. I'm still going to move on the rip because I have double prismatic ending. I'm going to get island off this one and plains off this one. And just, I'm all set up. Rip. They probably lined up a force will to this. I don't really expect this to resolve. Just the way they played this game with no plays until turn 3. Yeah, there's the force. That's fine. We're just count that as him to Turok. I have 2 more answers to Klothys plus the endurance, which can do like the stifle thing and counter a Klothys activation. Exiling Rest in Peace with Klothys is a weird choice because they have Tarmogoyf in their deck, and like I can't Snapcaster Mage a Klothys. So Teferi can bounce Klothys, but it plays straight into Red Blast, which I'm not interested in doing. Also Force of Negation, not interested in doing that either. I'm going to run the Trop out. They missed their land drop. I think they would have played something, if played a Wasteland even if they had it. So I'm going to respond to Klothys' trigger. Well, with Endurance. There you are. They can't hardcast Force. They can't Force of Negation. They can't Daze. They can't Red Blast. Alright. Yeah, let's tuck your graveyard. Stifle that trigger. Now I'm on board and you're not. Flusterstorm is nice. In for 3. There are only lands in the graveyard, so I'm not gonna play anything. Because Klothys can eat for mana, I just don't want to get my life drained out. And it's possible I should have played one of these prismatic endings, but I'm feeling like their hand doesn't function right now. Alright, Sylvan Library is good. In with Endurance. Crunch it down. And go for the library. Oh, guess I need green mana for that spell, huh? Alright, there's the library. They can hardcast Force of Will, which I will Flusterstorm if they do that. That's definitely what's happening right now. Alright, there it is. And here's the Fluster. Shut it all down. So this does put 2 spells in the graveyard, so Klothys can get drainy again. But hopefully Sylvan Library will get me to more spells I can cast. The prismatic endings are going to start going on the stack here, I think. Again, they are just non-blue things I can do. Alright, I'm going to put Teferi and Plow on top, because just hitting land drops is pretty important to me. And here comes Endurance. I could be leaving back Endurance out of respect for Ragavan Dash, but I don't actually respect Ragavan Dash. So green, blue, white, X is 2, cast it for 3 colors. So here's the first one. If they hardcast Force, alright, they just had nothing. Alright, I'm not going to play into Daze or Pyroblast here. So drawing Swords to Plowshares. I don't even think that's actually a card I want, like somehow. Though, if they start dashing Rags, I do want it. So I'll keep it. Keep it around. Top. And now I don't need to worry about a dash drag because I have Endurance. They have their own? Okay. Deal. Alright, so my graveyard is in my library now. Do they have the Lightning Bolt to finish it off? I think I want to make a move on Teferi right now. And Pyroblast seems pretty likely, but they can't Pyroblast everything. Yeah, just start working through those. I'm still going to play around Daze, though. Bummer. Alright, it's fine. It got a lot of value. And the Klothys is gone. I have Swords of Plowshares on top of my deck. I'm not going to die to this Endurance. So I'm at 10. Here's the Plow. And also Coatl. Yeah. So do I want to swing for the fences with the Coatl? I don't think so. So I'm going to top. Just Plow this. And I think I just want to cast Endurance this turn. I'll give them a chance to dash Ragavan. Yeah! I mean, the gamble there was they draw Murktide Regent, versus they dash Ragavan. All right, here comes Endurance. If they have Force of Will, that's actually really good, and I'm going to need to shuffle my deck because I don't want them to have my Coatl. Or they can just concede. I'll take that too. As long as your mana's under you, this is a hard matchup to lose. So we went 4-1 here against a variety of decks. Farming Delver, lost to Eldrazi because they effectively controlled the mana. We kept a hand that was soft to Wasteland game 1, and then kept a hand that just randomly got blown out by Sorcerer's Spyglass game 2. But if you just keep a hand with 3 lands, it's pretty hard to lose to Eldrazi. But we didn't know in game 1 and rode the cantrip wave in game 2. So this deck felt really good. I actually do think that in the present meta, you want 2 Endurance main, and you don't need 2 Jace at all. And then that opens up a sideboard slot for just something else. Could bring in, like, this is a pre-board against Delver, pre-board against a lot of combo, and like decks like this generally are built to farm creatures game 1 and really soft to combo, and then you need to answer combo decks out of the sideboard. But Endurance gives you a lot of play in a lot of ways. That goes up to 7 free spells in the main deck as well, like 7 ways to interact on turn 0. So I really like those numbers. Maybe another Carpet of Flowers in the sideboard, because like we saw, mana is really all that matters. Like if you cast your spells, you're going to win. So that's what I would do with the deck. I'll pick a card to replace in the sideboard before I post the list, but I'm not going to make you watch me puzzle through that. But I do love Endurance. That card's a huge upgrade. Bant Flash was already pretty good. Now it has an even better flash threat. So this is a good place to be with this deck. And I'm into it. Thank you, Spunky, for sharing this. I think this has come a long way. I do think the format has moved past Days Undoing. So the Hullbreachers are just Hullbreachers at this point, just flash threats. And maybe you want Narset to be a third Hullbreacher at this point, but Narset's card advantage is nice, and the fact that she just sits in play and is pretty hard to answer is also nice, so maybe not. But consider a third Hullbreacher over the Narset if you're going to be testing this deck. And that went really well. A good Delver matchup is a good place to be, and we somehow are like pretty reasonable against combo too. So Bant Flash in the main, Bant Prison in the sideboard. That's how you build decks. Thanks for watching. Spunky, thank you for submitting the deck. Everyone else, make sure to comment your thoughts for that 15th sideboard card or any other way to improve the main deck. Happy to hear it. I'm sure Spunky's going to read these comments too. And hit that like and subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.